Hi and welcome to the Choreography Club video series. My name is Rachel Holmes and this is Fitness Pilates. Fitness Pilates is my adaptation of the Pilates technique and how it can be applied for fitness and function. I have modified some of the original mat work exercises for standing balance and postural improvements. Once you have practiced and mastered the following exercises, why not use them in your mainstream classes? So for standing, let's get a good posture. Check the toes are forward and the knees are relaxed. I'd like you to align the pelvis in neutral. So smoothly tilt the pelvis forwards and backwards. These are extreme movements of the pelvis. And then bring the pelvis to neutral. Check that your hip bones and your pubic bone line up in this vertical plane. Shoulders are relaxed. Visualize that you have weights on your shoulders and the neck is long. Focus now on your breathing. As we inhale, I'd like you to focus on bringing and contracting the lower abdominals and the pelvic floor. As we exhale, I'd like you to intensify that contraction around your midsection. As we breathe in, feel the air come into the side of the lungs and the ribs really expand. As we exhale, the ribs close down, almost knitting together at the bottom of the exhalation. So once again, to recap, inhale, activate the pelvic floor, contract the abdominals, and as we exhale, intensify that connection around the midsection. Now, first exercise is going to be a modified roll down. We're going to inhale, contract the pelvic floor, pull in the abdominals, and now as we exhale, allow the head to roll down, allow the mid-back to roll, and the hands to come down to the knees. We inhale at the bottom, and then exhale, curling up through the spine, rolling the spine back bone by bone, until the shoulder blades pull back, the shoulders sit back, and the head comes back into neutral. Inhale once more. Contract through the core muscles, focus on tightening the midsection, and then as we exhale, roll down towards the knees. Inhale at the bottom, and then exhale. This time we'll take your arms all the way up into a standing position, and we'll try the full roll down from standing. So, inhale, bringing your arms forward, exhaling, taking your head down, and then allowing each vertebrae to roll down independently towards the floor. Breathe in at the bottom and exhale the same way. So each vertebra stacks up bone on top of bone and bringing your arms back into the center. Now, for the purpose of the video, we're only going to be doing 2 or 3 repetitions of each exercise. You'll need to practice these 8 or 10 reps before moving on, trying to get as many different exercises into the video as possible. Inhale at the bottom. So visualize that your legs are actually lying on the floor and you're peeling the spine back and rolling the spine up, bone by bone, to the top. We'll then bring one arm down and one arm back and focus on bringing the shoulder blades together. So again, inhale, connect through the core, contract through the abdominals, and as we exhale, allow the arms to float and change places. Now, for this particular exercise, I want you to bring your focus to your shoulder blades. And as the arms switch places, bring the shoulder blades to the center of your back. So visualize that the shoulder blades are like sliding doors. And as the arms move back, the shoulder blades are sliding together. So we're warming through the upper back and articulating all the muscles in the mid-back as we do the exercise. Focus again that your shoulders have weights on them. There's very little movement in the shoulders as we bring those sliding doors or the scapula together. Bring one arm down. We'll next focus on the lower body. So again, contract. Imagine that you have a thick leather belt on around your center. And as we breathe in, you're buckling that belt up to about the 5th level. As we exhale, this time, we're actually going to do a small squat, bringing your arms to the center and then inhaling as we move back. Now we want to be checking that your knees and your hips are in alignment. Visualize that you're sitting back on a stool and then changing your mind. Now your focus here is your core. So as we exhale, feel that band of muscle wrapping around your center. As we bring the hips back, contracting as deeply as possible, and then inhaling. Now this would be a modified double leg stretch if we were to do this exercise on the floor. This time we'll allow the arms to come a little bit higher, keeping the shoulder blades back and the shoulders feeling as if they have weights on them. And again, exhale. So your core muscles are supporting and stabilizing the movement as we squat back. We'll do one more. Real strong exhale as the arms come up, and inhale as we move to the center. My next modified standing exercise will be the side leg kick. Now we're going to balance on one side. Again, inhaling through, visualize that the pelvic floor is like a magic carpet coming up through the center, contracting. You can take your arms out to the side or down to the side, wherever feels comfortable. Now visualize that you have a blank wall in front of you and your hip bones have two lights shining in front of you. Now those lights are shining directly in front of you on the wall. So be aware that the hip bones aren't twisting or rocking as we lift the leg to the side. So again, inhale to begin, contract, a big leather belt on, feel the leather belt tightened up to level 5, and then as we exhale the leg to the side, we intensify that contraction through the transversus abdominis and allow the leg to come smoothly down. Again, on the other side, focus on inhaling, visualize that magic carpet, pelvic floor coming up, and then take the leg out to the side. Now again, focus on your balance, contraction through the abdominals as we exhale the leg to the side. Breathing out, the waist gets smaller and smaller, and then inhale, we allow it to relax slightly. One more time, contract, taking the leg to the side and then back to the center. We're actually now going to roll down onto the floor. So again, we'll inhale to begin, connecting, visualize the shoulders down. The head is like a balloon filled with helium, the neck feels long. As we exhale, applying all that basic Pilates knowledge to a standing position, we allow the spine to roll down inch by inch, creating as much space between the vertebrae as possible. We'll then walk the hands forward and come into a kneeling position. Now, balanced position here, again, focusing on the core. We'll inhale, gather up and hollow the abdominals, feel as if the waist is being squeezed in, and then we'll simultaneously take one arm and one leg behind into this position. Be aware that the hips aren't rocking, the pelvis remains in a neutral position, and then bring your arms and your legs back into center. So again, these exercises need to be practiced probably 6 to 8 times on each side. Now abdominals are supporting, hollow the abdominals and lengthen through from the fingertips to the tip toe as we bring your arm and your leg in. Visualize that your spine has a tray of drinks rested on the back, and you don't want to spill those drinks. The spine is very, very still as we move the leg out to the side. And again, simultaneously, one arm, one leg, pull tight, pull in that transverse abdominis, feel the muscles wrapping around your center, and then move into the cat pose. So again, dropping the head down, pelvis tilts forward, and visualize your back is like a rainbow. Try and pull the abdominals up into the back and increase the stretch. Moving down onto your abdominals, it's very gentle back work to begin with. Focus on the spine and the neck being as one long unit. The legs are stretched out behind you and the shoulders are relaxed. Still focus on contracting and pulling in your abdominals in this position. So visualize again that you have a hot plate and you're trying to pull your skin or your abdominals away from that hot plate. Your buttock muscles are relaxed, and very simply, we'd like to focus on a spine extension or a back extension. Be aware that the head doesn't look up, the neck stays in alignment, and the shoulders are drawing down. So again, visualize the arms being longer and longer. Shoulders feel as if they're melting down, and just focus on the lower back. Try this exercise without clenching or tensing your buttock muscles. Trying to get the buttock muscles to really relax. As we lift and smoothly bring it down. Bring your arms into the swan dive position. So for this particular position, we're focusing more on the middle back, more thoracic. So visualize that the hands and the elbows are nailed to the floor, sellotaped to the floor. You have arrows shooting away from the elbows, and the palms are spread. Now visualize again, you have a marble under the nose, and you're actually trying to roll the marble along the floor as you have a soft arc through the back and releasing down. So it's very much a feel how the lower back and the middle back work together in this exercise. So the elbows and the forearms stay connected to the floor and the shoulders stay relaxed down. Feel as if your ears are lengthening as you roll the marble along the floor, and then slowly slide back. A progression from this exercise could be by lifting the hands just a millimeter away from the mat. Again, focusing on the elbows being pulled down and the forehead being pulled along. Okay. Good exercise for the upper back and for posture would be our rectangular position. The head stays down and the hands and the elbows line up in this square position. Again, still focus on the lower abdominals and that we do have a connection there. The legs are lengthening away. Keep the forehead down on the mat and then allow the hands and the elbows to float upwards, bringing those shoulder blades to the center of your back and releasing down. Again, a really good visual for this would be that your shoulder blades are like sliding doors, and as your arms and your elbows lift, the sliding doors of the lift close together. Try and keep as much emphasis out of the front of the shoulder and the chest as possible, and focus only on those shoulder blades as your arms lift. Again, practice all these exercises at least 8 to 10 times before you move on. A variation of this exercise could be allowing one side to lift and then the other side. So again, notice if you have any imbalances here. Does one side feel particularly tight? Is one side particularly easy to lift? And then we could do an adaptation of the swimming. So as one side lifts, lengthen the opposite leg and raise and release down. Bring your focus back to your abdominals and your core section. Still imagine that you have that hot plate underneath the abs and you're trying to pull those abdominals up away from the mat and release down. I'm going to bring you back up onto all fours. We're just going to do a spinal rotation for the middle of the back. Again, I'd like you to set the hips back slightly so you just have a shorter distance between the heels and your buttocks. Bring one hand to the side of the elbow. Again, we need to contract. So here visualize that you have a piece of cotton around your center and you're pulling your abdominals in away from that cotton because we don't want the cotton to break. So we will inhale and rotate the spine, flex forward, and then as we exhale, our aim is to try and get that elbow as far back as possible. Visualize that your hips now are completely set in stone and the focus is the middle of the back. And again, as you change sides, feel as if one side feels any different. Do you have more movement, more rotation on one side? So again, it's important to visualize your abdominals being pulled in, away from your waistband and release down. I'd like you to turn over and we'll move into our relaxation position for our fitness Pilates exercises on your back. So again, checking your positioning. We need to make sure that the feet are hip width apart and that the middle of your patella lines up with your hip bones. So if we had a seam running down, they would be joined together. Focus on the shoulders melting down into the ground and the chin slide forward. Again, we would need to find our neutral position so we can slightly move the pelvis forwards and backwards, visualizing that bowl of water. As you tilt the pelvis one way, the water escapes out of the back, and as we tilt forward, the water escapes out of the front until we find our neutral position. Now again, hip bones and pubic bone line up in this horizontal plane. Our shoulders are relaxed and feel as if we're melting down into the floor. Our first exercise will be the toe tap. I'm going to bring the legs into what I call the table position. So we need to check that the knees line up with the hips and the feet line up with the knees. I'm going to keep the back in a neutral position as opposed to jamming down or excessively arching. Now on the inhale, gather up the abdominals, activate the pelvic floor and feel all little balloons at the side of the ribs expand. As we exhale, allow one leg to just tap down carefully on the floor. Now here's where all the energy or your time is focused on those front abdominal muscles. So you almost feel like cling film over the edge of a bowl, that your abdominals are almost being stretched over the hip bone. So visualize this very tight drum area as one leg lowers and the other leg returns. Bring your attention to your shoulders. Feel that the shoulders are melting down into the floor. The chin stays relaxed. Level 2 for this exercise would be to speed the exercise up. So again, you're focusing that the lower back remains in neutral and that the abdominal muscles are really tense as the legs move. It would be exhale down one side and inhale as we move back. Good. And then bring the legs down to the center. We're going to move into the shoulder bridge position. Once again, we're going to do this first without a ball, and then I'm going to use a medicine ball to intensify the exercise slightly. So we'll inhale to begin. Focus on the rib cage expanding. The abdominal muscles stay connected. Relax the shoulders. Now as we exhale, tilt the pelvis back towards you so you create a nice C shape. Very slowly peeling the base of the spine up away from the floor, we move into this modified shoulder bridge position. Now I want to keep the buttock muscles as released, as relaxed as possible, and focus here on the core, on your center. So this band of muscle around your middle stays really connected. We'll inhale at the top, connecting through, and then as we exhale, roll the spine down independently, each vertebrae hitting the floor, and then relaxing into neutral. So to recap, it would be inhale, connect and contract. As we exhale, tilt the pelvis forwards and then allow the base of the spine to roll. So it's as if it's two pieces of Velcro gently pulling apart. Buttock muscles are relaxed. Focus on the waist, the circumference of the waist getting smaller and smaller. We'll inhale at the top and then smoothly exhale, rolling the spine down. So as if someone's running a magnet underneath your mat and your spine is steel and it's being magnetized down to the floor. Relax the shoulders. Okay. We're going to get the med ball now and use the medicine ball to intensify some of the Pilates exercises. Now, for the shoulder bridge, we'll bring the ball between the thighs and use the inner thighs, get the inner thighs engaged. So I contract and squeeze the med ball as tight as possible. Inhaling, exactly the same technique, but the med ball and the adductors now are really connected, and I'll allow the base of the spine to roll up bone by bone, relaxing my buttocks, putting all my attention into the abdominal muscles. We'll inhale, I'm still squeezing the med ball as tight as possible, and then slowly easing the back down, bone by bone. I'll take your arms out to the side for our next exercise and move into the knee rolling. So for this particular exercise, there's lots of modifications, but I want you to focus on that your arms and your shoulders are now nailed down to the ground. There's very little movement there. Maintaining table position, neutral spine to begin with, and then as we exhale, we'll allow the knees to roll over one way, head will look the other side, and then still connecting with the inner thighs, we'll bring the legs back to the center. And then again, exhaling over the top, keeping the shoulders rolled down, and then inhale as we move back into center. I'll do that one more time. So it would be inhale to begin, shoulders nailed down, palms down, and allow the knees to roll. Now the difficult part of the exercise is actually bringing the knees back up. And of course you can do this without the medicine ball, or you can just use a lightweight squashy ball just to get the adductors to connect. Okay, quite an advanced intense exercise to use with the med ball and the Pilates technique would be lowering both legs. So again, keeping the adductors connected. We're inhaling, soft spine. Now we really do have to visualize that cylinder of muscle, and slowly we allow the legs to roll down. Now be aware with yourself and your clients that the lower back doesn't arch or pop up. We remain in neutral the whole time. So we exhale slowly down and inhale slowly back. Some of your clients might be quite happy to take the legs all the way down to the floor, while others may need a modification. Okay, I'll bring the ball back down and I'll come into a seated position. So we're going to do the half roll down, but we're going to use the ball for variety. So before we start, shoulders are relaxed and the spine is really stacked. We'll inhale, focusing on creating as much space in the lower back, in between the vertebrae, and hollowing through the core muscles. So we'll exhale, keeping the knees and the hips in alignment, and inhale as we release back to the center. And again, this exercise can be performed fine without the medicine ball. So there's a little bit of variation, and to intensify some of the exercises. And again, we could exhale and take the ball down to the side, and again inhale through to the center. So my primary objective would be to have a very soft, relaxed shoulder. Abdominal muscles are hollow, so you really have to visualize that thick leather belt around your center that's tightening and tightening as we exhale back, and loosening slightly as we inhale. Now for the full roll up, I'm going to actually bring the ball between the thighs or between the ankles, and I'm going to slowly roll the body down, taking your arms over the top. Now we're going to connect using the inner thighs. Be aware that when the legs are straight, that the force or the weight of the thighs may actually pull the pelvis out of line. So we need to ensure that we are maintaining our neutral position. We inhale and take your arms over the top, and then as we exhale, we slowly peel each spine, each bone off the floor, and extend. You may find that many clients or class members find this very, very difficult to roll all the way. You can modify this by putting a towel underneath your thighs, holding onto the towel, and applying a little bit of pressure to pull the body up. And inhale. And one more time, so we'd exhale, feeling each part of the spine imprints, and then over the top. We'll do that one more time. We inhale, taking your arms over. We'll exhale and roll through, extending as far forward, breathing in, and exhaling all the way down. Okay, I'm going to leave the med ball for a second. I'm going to move into a modified one leg stretch. So again, we're going to focus in our table position. Our hands and shoulders are relaxed. Again, our primary objective is to maintain neutral. Now, inhaling to begin. Feel the ribcage expand. Visualize hundreds of tiny little balloons that you inhale and inflate as you breathe in. As we exhale, allow the leg to slowly float outwards towards the wall in front of you. Again, some class members or clients may find it really difficult to remain in neutral by extending that leg. So again, they could just have a little bit of movement, or modification would be to put one leg down on the floor. Focus on the shoulders. Shoulders now are melting down, just like ice cream on a hot day, melting down into the floor as we inhale. And again, exhaling out with one side and inhaling. Now to progress the exercise, we could actually bring one knee in and one leg extended. Again, our objective here is to maintain the pelvis, the pelvic girdle, stays stable. So again, it would be inhale, band of muscle around the center connects, and then slowly we allow the knees to change places, being aware that there's no pressure on the lower back. The lower back stays soft and sinks down, keeping its natural curves in. And again, to progress the exercise further, we could bring your arms and your legs in. Again, focusing on a real stable base through the center. So abdominal muscles now are having to work really hard. The whole core is contracted as we move your arms and your legs back into the center position. As we change. Okay, bring your knees into chest and just relax off for a second. And slowly come up to center. Now you can use the Pilates technique in lots of different exercises. Encourage your clients to focus on contracting, teach them to find neutral in a standing, lying and or forced positions so they can take that information away and use it on a daily basis. So the exercises and the technique becomes imprinted in their mind. Week after week then the exercises will be easier and easier for them if they are carrying it over into everyday life. I do hope you enjoy the video. Do remember though that we've moved through things quite quickly and you will need to practice and modify for your students and your capabilities. We'll see you next time on Choreography Club. Thank you.